ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। ॐ नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्मविद्या सम्प्रदायकर्तृभ्यो वंश ऋषिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः। ॐ निधये सर्वविद्यानां भिषजे भवरोगिणां गुरवे सर्वलोकानां दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ॐ समस्त ब्रह्म विद्या आचार्येभ्यो नमः, ऋषिभ्यो नमः, मुनिभ्यो नमः, गुरुभ्यो नमः, देवताभ्यो नमः, परब्रह्मणे नमः, श्रुतिमात्रे नमः। श्री वेदव्यास वैशंपायन याज्ञवल्क्य आद्य शंकराचार्यवर्यादि गुरुभ्यो नमः। अस्मद्गुरुभ्यो नमः। ओम अथ उपनिषदुक्त ब्रह्मविद्या प्राप्त्यर्थं तैत्तिरीय उपनिषदः पारायणं भाष्य समेत अध्ययनं च करिष्यामहे। आदौ पारायणं प्रथमा शिक्षा वल्ली। From this Pranava Upasana is our chanting. Try again to bring the mind as much as possible. Try to utter the words with the mouth. If you are not able to do with the mind. What is required is the inner feeling bhavana that we are chanting the utmost divine, ancient, eternal Veda mantras, which each of the word having Paramatma Tattva alone hidden in them. If this Bhakti Shraddha is brought, and also a prayer to the Shruti Mata, O Mother, reveal the sublime truth hidden behind the words in you. With this bhavana, when we chant, after also when we study, when we listen, the impact would be greater, the understanding would be higher, deeper, conviction would be stronger about the truth. Let us try for that. Om Omiti Brahma Omiti Dagam Sarvam Omityetadanukrutih smava Apyo Shravayetya Shravayante Omiti Samani Gayante Ogam Shomiti Shastrani Shagam Sante Omityadvaryo Pratigaram Pratigrunade ओमिति ब्रह्मा प्रसौते ओमित्यग्निहोत्रमनुजानाते ओमिति ब्राह्मण प्रवक्षन्नाह ब्रह्मोपाप्नवानेते ब्रह्मैवोपाप्नोते ऋतं च स्वाध्याय प्रवचने च सत्यं च स्वाध्याय प्रवचने च तपश्च स्वाध्याय प्रवचने च दमश्च स्वाध्याय प्रवचने च शमश्च स्वाध्याय प्रवचने च अग्नयश्च स्वाध्याय प्रवचने च अग्निहोत्रं च स्वाध्याय प्रवचने च अतिथयश्च स्वाध्याय प्रवचने च मानुषं च स्वाध्याय प्रवचने च प्रजा च स्वाध्याय प्रवचने च प्रजनश्च स्वाध्याय प्रवचने च प्रजातिश्च स्वाध्याय प्रवचने च सत्यमिति सत्यवचाराथीतरः तप इति तपो नित्यपौरुषिष्टिः स्वाध्याय प्रवचने एवेति नाको मौद्गल्यः तद्धितपस्तद्धितपः अहं वृक्षस्य रेरिव कीर्तिः पृष्ठं गिरेरिव ऊर्ध्वपवित्रो वाजिनीव स्वमृतमस्मि द्रविणकं सवर्चसं सुमेधा अमृतोक्षितः इति त्रिशङ्कोर्वेदानुवचनम् वेदमनोच्चाचार्योऽन्ते वासिनमनुषास्ति सत्यं वद धर्मं चर स्वाध्यायान्मा प्रमदः आचार्याय प्रियं धनमाहृत्य प्रजातन्तुं मा व्यवच्छेत्सीः सत्यान्न प्रमदितव्यं धर्मान्न प्रमदितव्यं कुशलान्न प्रमदितव्यं भूत्यैन प्रमदितव्यं स्वाध्याय प्रवचनाभ्यां न प्रमदितव्यं देवपितृकार्याभ्यां न प्रमदितव्यं मातृदेवो भव पितृदेवो भव आचार्यदेवो भव अतिथिदेवो भव यान्यनवद्यानि कर्माणि तानि सेवितव्यानि नो इतराणि यान्यस्माकं सुचरितानि तानि त्वयोपास्यानि नो इतराणि एके चास्मच्छ्रेयागंसो ब्राह्मणाः तेषां त्वयासनेन प्रश्वसितव्यं श्रद्धया देयम् अश्रद्धया अदेयं श्रिया देयं ह्रिया देयं भिया देयं संविदा देयम् अत यदि ते कर्मविचिकित्सा वा वृत्तविचिकित्सा वा स्यात् ये तत्र ब्राह्मणाः सम्मर्षिणः युक्ता अयुक्ताः अलोक्षा धर्मकामाः स्युः यथा ते तत्र वर्तेरन् तथा तत्र वर्तेथाः अथाभ्याख्यातेषु ये तत्र ब्राह्मणाः सम्मर्षिणः युक्ता अयुक्ताः अलोक्षा धर्मकामाः स्युः यथा ते तेषु वर्तेरन् तथा तेषु वर्तेथाः एष आदेशः एष उपदेशः एषा वेदोपनिषत् एतदनुशासनम् एवमुपासितव्यम् एवमुचैतदुपास्यम् शन्नो मित्रः शं वरुणः शन्नो भवत्वर्यमा शं न इन्द्रो बृहस्पतिः शन्नो विष्णुरुक्रमः नमो ब्रह्मणे नमस्ते वायो त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मासि त्वामेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मावादिशं ऋतमवादिशं सत्यमवादिशं तन्मामावीत् तद्वक्तारमावीत् आवीन्माम् आवीद्वक्तारम् ॐ शान्तिः 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 ॐ अथ श्रीकृष्णयजुर्वेदान्तर्गत तैत्तिरीयारण्यकान्तर्गत तैत्तिरीय उपनिषद ॐ यस्माज्जातं जगत्सर्वं यस्मिन्नेव प्रलीयते येनेदं धार्यते चैव तस्मै ज्ञानात्मने नमः यैरिमे गुरुभिः पूर्वं पदवाक्यप्रमाणतः व्याख्याताः सर्ववेदान्ताः तान् नित्यं प्रणतोऽस्म्यहं तैत्तिरेयकसारस्य मयाचार्यप्रसादतः विस्पष्टातरुचीनां हि व्याख्येयं सम्प्रणीयते ॐ अथ प्रथमा शिक्षा वल्ली प्रथमानुवाकः प्रार्थनामन्त्रः ॐ शन्नो मित्रः शं वरुणः शन्नो भवत्वर्यमा शन्न इन्द्रो बृहस्पतिः शन्नो विष्णुरुक्रमः नमो ब्रह्मणे नमस्ते वायो त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मासि त्वामेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्म वदिष्यामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतो तद्वक्तारमवतो अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारम् ॐ शान्तिः 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 Salutations to Bhagavan, Vyasa, Vaishambhayana, Yajnavalkya, and all Taittiriya Upanishad Acharyas, including Gaudapada, Govindapada, Adi Shankara, and Acharyas who brought it up to us. Salutations to Shruti Mata and also to the Brahma Vidya and the Parabrahma Tattva. Only single thought today is develop a habit of coming into the spiritual sadhanas as soon as possible. either from the duties or the indulgences or even the problems. So we have the problems at various levels, inevitable. Quickly, what is the solution for that problem? Find it, apply it, then come back to your own one or the other spiritual sadhana zone, spiritual sadhana track, spiritual sadhana field. Like an health issue came, so went to doctor. So he gave medicine. You are taking medicine. That is what in our hands. How and when will the body be cured and all? Effectiveness of medicine, receptivity of the body, depending on that, it will happen. But we have taken medicine. Even if it is paining and all that, shift your attention wherever we are to some or the other Bhagavan related theme. The highest is the contemplation of the self with the help of the shlokas, which tell us about the guna of this Atmavastu, Lakshana of this Atmavastu. This is the highest. If that cannot be done, then any of this stotram, any of the shloka, even any of the nama of Bhagavan, doing japa and shifting our attention to the divinity. It not only helps us in not getting carried away by the problem and suffering in the mind, but there is also a chance because you are taking Bhagavan's Nama, Bhagavan being infinitely powerful, he may acknowledge our smarana of him, prarthana to him. He may help us in reduction of that, whatever the physical health problem issue we have, any problem for that matter. The habit of coming into the class or satsang or your own study or doing some dhyanam or any upasana or parayanam or the japa through any of these variety without staying much in the problematic zone, enter into this. Make a habit of it and do it at the mind level seriously in such a way that immediately the deha tadatmya bhanam is gone. We have reached the mind level of sadhana. One situation. Another is what? Not only the problem they are there, but their duties also in our life. Those duties also have their own beauty. So perform the duties beautifully. But we need not stuck up there again or get lost. Come back again into one or the other track of whatever the sadhanas we have understood, as we mentioned just now. So ड्यूटी धर्म का भी निर्वहन करना है बट तुरंत हम इस सेफ सिक्योर्ड जोन like during the corona you see out of any compulsion only we used to go out, and once that work is over, running back to our own safe secured zone of our own house. That protected all of us. Those who did not take that care, spent extra unwanted time, were affected by that disease. All that is physical. What we are now talking is psychological, mind. Mind is a terrible enemy we know. It has so many powers to bind us to the upadhi and make us do all nonsense, consequently make us suffer. That mind has not should not be given much freedom. A habit should be developed in us. It is a habit. As early we can develop that habit, so lesser will be our unnecessary worries, broodings, problems, inviting new problems and all. It's a very healthy suggestion, a very good habit if we can. With this, what is happening? If it is Bhagavan's Nama, the Punyam and Bhakti is growing. Upasana hai, to bhi usse devotion to the Bhagavan is growing. Or any of the prayers. With that also, faith to Bhagwan is growing. Higher than all of that, if we are able to contemplate on the nature of our own self, then it is deepening our knowledge about our own self. All of them are the spiritual benefits, sadhanas leading to spiritual progress or evolution. So too, we are sometimes forced to enter into some indulgence or bhoga, even eating the food or all, going with somebody for some party, program, TV, उसमें भी ज़्यादा नहीं रमना है. Immediately come back to the sadhana. In fact, that thing can be reduced because as we grow in age, time is less, sadhana to be done is more. All these enjoyments we have gone through, they're not so greater than spirituality, that we have to sacrifice spirituality for them. Totally, if we cannot give up, we can slowly reduce it. But there also quickly finish. You want to see a serial? Khatam, आ जाओ बैठो अपने जप में, जहाँ बैठे वहीं. Time and mind somehow have to enter into the spiritual zone till it becomes a habit. All the time in the mind, by the mind, I am doing some or the other substantial spiritual sadhana, consciously knowingly that what I am doing, what for I am doing. And all sadhanas were done only for two purposes: control and purification of the upadhi. Second, discovering this self, knowledge, discovering our true essential self. Every sadhana has only these two things: control of the upadhi, purification of them. With them, employing them, only the buddhi is employed in the inquiry contemplation. Mana can be employed in doing upasana. The Hindriya also can be employed in Bhagavad Seva. Little later on, more and more is intellectual job of meditation and contemplation. Like yesterday, both things Bhagavan Brahmadeva said. What did he say to Narayana who appeared? He said, "Ki with my own manaha, vacha, prana, indriya, atma, I am surrendering to your feet, in my heart, chitte." Again, the same thing what we saw the meaning. All the yogi jana who wanted to have chitta shuddhi, thereafter meditate and reach you, have done this sadhana of using all their upadhis in serving you. To such you, my salutations. Namaha. See how beautiful was that mantra and very clear. So, in this way, whether we are in problems, whether we are in duties, whether we are in other obligations, including some of the indulgences, indulgence includes your own bhojanadi vyapara, they have to be done. But quickly come into the spiritual zone. Even other vyavahara of your children will call or you have to talk to them. कुछ भी करो, यहीं वहीं नहीं फंसना और कहीं नहीं जाना. Come back to spirituality. Like when we go out for a work, don't get lost in that work or don't go from anywhere into a unsafe places. What do we do when we go out for a work? Finish it and come back home. In the same way, let us make it very clear, spirituality is our home. We will come back into it. And only when it is required, we go out of this home. In this way, remember, developing the knowledge of the self, that I am not the upadhis, developing faith in the Lord who is managing the show of the entire world, in which I am also there, to whom I have to tune with bhakti, so that he helps in setting right my prarabdha, my ignorances. He is the one who gives good opportunities, abilities, empowerments for my both negotiation of the life outer, then sadhana. ऐसे भगवान है, करके उनके उपासना में आत्मा है करके उस आत्म ध्यान में हमें ज़्यादा समय बिताते रहना. Once we cross the age of 55, 58, there is no better occupation than this. If this is done for continuously minimum 10 years, then with the bhakti, shraddha, sharanagati gained through bhakti sadhanas and clarity gained through the Vedanta vichara, we will no more be persecuted by the bodily ailments or the old age or the fear of diseases or the death, including any problem coming from the world, because by the time we have done all this for those 10 years, we have understood both the inevitability of the world, the illusory nature of the world. दुनिया में जो होना है कोई टाल नहीं सकते. सेम टाइम दिस नॉट रियल द जगत इज, इट इज ओनली ईश्वर लीला. दैट कन्विक्शन विल कम. Therefore, we don't suffer as much others are suffering. On the other hand, through this bhakti and jnana sadhana, if we are really deeply entered into them, we'll have the positive joy also. Bhakti rasa swadhana hota rehta hai. Like we were seeing in our Drugdusha Vivekam, the word used was ki rasa swada, swanubhuti rasa vesha. These are the words used. Bhakti rasa swadhana, atmanubhava rasa swadhana. When we can gain that, तो इससे बढ़कर तो कुछ है ही नहीं. It's like any moment I am withdrawing from the upadhis and reveling in my infinite self, all pervading self, the Satchidananda Atma. And I am in that rasa swadhana. If we can come to that zone, then we are almost through. In this way, come back to home. Ghar vapasi. Come back to the home of some or the other spiritual sadhana done. At the very gross level, it helps us escape the problems, etc. And at a subtler level, it strengthens our spiritual sadhanas. And more deeper level, it leads to the experiences. In fact, this is the intelligent, wise way of living, right from beginning. Not only when we have become old, शुरू से भी ऐसे करने से उसी का आदत. That's why in olden days, in the house there is a puja mandiram. There is a mandiram also in the town or the village. So they for any meetings, occasions, they meet in the temple only. The first temple darshanam. Then charcha is done. After that again temple darshanam, thanks to Bhagavan, take prasad and go. At home also, starting the day with upasana. Throughout the day, what is to be done, we do. In the evening again, Sayankala Deeparadhana and Upasana. This is our Hindu way of living. Always we are in the memory of Lord, in the remembrance of Lord. In the remembrance of the true thing called as spiritual aspect. Spiritual alone is reality. All else is ignorance born, delusion created, world of problems. And into that we are so much lost. We have to slowly put our own efforts for our own coming out of it, for our own benefit. Further, the habit is this one when we develop. Is it not? Keep some niyama. Niyamas are the only ones which help us. The topic wise niyama, the time wise niyama, whatever. The topic wise niyamas are what? Every day I will chant one chapter of Gita or one Valli of the Upanishad or these Shanti mantras. Like these niyamas, topic wise. Like Yaschandasam Vrishabhaha, daily 27 times. Avahanti Vitanvana, daily 27 times. Om iti dagam sarvam. Om iti brahma, om iti dagam sarvam. That is 27. Then this aham rukshasya riva. Niyama. And according to the niyama, when you do, that's called topic. So time was. This 1 hour for that. This 1 hour for this. ऐसा करने से ही होता है. ऐसा नियम नहीं लगाया का टॉपिक और समय का. Sometime we do, sometime we don't do. Is it not? When we are committed, definitely we do. Not committed, other things attract us, including nidra, including any of the distraction. So it won't help. By now, though, we have understood any distraction other than spirituality is destructive and detrimental. By now, we have understood. So, in this way, we can help ourselves. Now, the Upanishadic Adhyayanam, Ramayanam Adhyayanam, Bhagavata Adhyayanam, all of them cater to this. And we being very infants in spirituality, the higher heights, scales, whether of understanding, whether of deep contemplation, whether of deep meditation, we have not yet reached. But we just joined the school. As we continue slowly, steadily, we also will definitely mature in knowing every aspect. What is the goal of life? And how I have to mold my life to reach to that goal, and what I have to do for that at every moment. ये सारे धीरे धीरे ओपन अप होते हैं definitely for every one of us. Okay, right now is shift the attention to spirituality so that we are not unnecessarily creating new problems by extra involvement. Also, we have strength, spiritual strength to sustain the temptations, empowerment to do their duty, and withdraw or manage the problems. समस्याओं का समाधान के लिए भी, विद्युक्त धर्मों को अच्छी तरह निर्वहन करने के लिए भी, टेम्पटेशन से दूर आने के लिए भी जो स्पिरिचुअल स्ट्रेंथ चाहिए, that we keep on gathering by these things. That's what is the thought for the day. Think about it little more. Very essential. Very essential thought it is. Come back to spirituality. Come back to spirituality. एक पागल बन जाना है spirituality में वापस आने के लिए. That much. And naturally, habitually it should be. That's the only way we can transcend upadhis, we can transcend the world, we can transcend the influence of unavoidable prarabdha, etc. शरीर दुख से कैसे बचना है? Only when you enter into Bhagavan's स्मरण. Any family problems, difficulty, कैसे बचना है? No other solution than entering into Bhagavan's charana. There's no other way. Please remember it. Very, very essential thought. Listen this one again today. And feel for this. Feel the importance of it. Before the problems become serious, होगा ना, health problem होगा, because we are growing in age, many other things. Before the problems become serious, old age problem, we have to become intense in our sadhana. In the Bhagavad Smarana ityadi. Try to think, understand this important topic. Now, let us do the Dashamanuvaka Parayanam thrice. Continue from where we left yesterday. Om Atha Taittiriya Upanishad Shiksha Valli Dashamanuvaka. Om Aham Vrukshasya Reriva Kirti Prushtam Gireriva Urdhvavetro Vajineva Samrutamasmi Dravinagam Savarchasam Sumedha Amrutokshitaha Iti Trishankor Vedanuvachanam Aham Vrukshasya Reriva Kirti Prushtam Gireriva ऊर्ध्वपवित्रो वाजिनीव समृतमस्मि द्रविणगं सवर्चसं सुमेधा अमृतोक्षितः इति त्रिशङ्कोर्वेदानुवचनम् अहं वृक्षस्य रेरिव कीर्तिः पृष्ठं गिरेरिव ऊर्ध्वपवित्रो वाजिनीव स्वमृतमस्मि द्रविणगं सवर्चसं सुमेधा अमृतोक्षितः इति त्रिशङ्कोर्वेदानुवचनम्. This is the mantra for Swadhyaya or Japa doing repeated chanting with the meaning known. And in the context of the subject so far studied, in my opinion, more spiritually beneficial for sadhana is this anuvaka than what we saw already, the nine out there. Because in all those nine anuvaka, so many upasanas were taught. We were doing them. Still, we were maintaining our individuality. This is the mantra of which we have to do the karma of the upasana of swadhyaya of japa. इसका स्वाध्याय करना मतलब जप करना. Japa itself is a upasana, and I am doing it as a karta, therefore it is a karma. So karma, upasana karma, japa karma, swadhyaya karma. Swadhyaya is the word used by the Bhashyakara. This is the only one in which we attend to. A realized master's personal experience is so glorifyingly or beautifully explained, which is so essential for you and me to get and keep up our inspiration always. What is the meaning of inspiration is, oh, this is the glory of this Atma Anubhuti, wherein all limitations, all problems are transcended. Therefore, let me try for that. Let me aim for it. Let me put all my abilities, resources only for that. This type of inspiration, which is so essential, without which we can't certainly do sadhanas, nor we can come out of the samsara or the upadhi. Oh, Allah inspiration. Just like to join an army. Army means ready to die for the nation. Now, how much that person's inspiration must be inside for this Desha Bhakti that he is ready to go and stand there at the borders, knowing fully well that from anywhere the bullet will come and hit. But ध्यान करो, how greatest must be that endeavor, inspiration. It is required. Only such people can become army personnel. That's why always special prayers to them, special thanks to them, salutations to them. कहे तो हमको जाके बॉर्डर पे खड़ा हो जाओ. ये आने में हम we are happy in the city with all our bhoga and enjoyment. We are ready to do some small little vyaparam, some naukari, some this or that, where absolute safety, security. There, what safe secure? They are themselves most dangerous situation, giving security to the entire nation. The army personnel. How much inspiration one needs? Much, much more inspiration is needed for me to give up the samsara, to do sadhana. Where from it will come? Nowhere other than these declarations, the proclamations of such great Anubhavi saints. Every Shastra, Shruti, Upanishad is Anubhava of the Rishi only, there is no doubt. But all that Anubhava was in the form of teachings there. We have to be told that it is a Anubhava. Otherwise, we take it as teachings. Anubhava only teaches. The Anubhava only about teaches. But here, more than as a teaching, he is talking as Anubhava direct. Like saying that Badrinath bahut badhiya rehta hai. He is how it looks like, and I have seen Badrinath. It is so beautiful. You know, the entry itself into the mandir is so badhiya. Narayana in that Salagrama Rupa. Oh, excellent. And around you see that Nara Parvat, Narayan Parvat divided by that Alakananda Mata, gurgling with such a beautiful speed. And there, the Garam Kund वहाँ आकर दर्शन करके वहाँ बैठकर सहस्रनाम पढ़ो जप ध्यान करो. It is so excellent. I've seen it. I've enjoyed it. When I say that I have seen, and when I say it is nice when you go to Badrinath, how much farak I have made. This particular Anuvaka's purpose is that, and that purpose is so beautiful, so required and essential, we have to make use of it. And what is the effort in making use of it? Chant this mantra, know the meaning, and feel that Trishanku is the one who experienced the Brahma Atma Tattva, which is expressing in the form of these mantras, which have this meaning. Therefore, the Atma Anubhava is so glorious. Therefore, let me attempt for that. The more seriously, sincerely, truly, genuinely, regularly we attend the Atma Tattva in our Shravana, Mananam, Nididhyasanam, to that extent we are away from the Upadhi and Upadhikrita Samsara. No other way. Otherwise, Yava Dehendriyas Pranaihi Atmanah Sannikarsanam Samsaraha Tavad Apartopi Avivekinaha. Samsara falavan tavat apartahavi avivekinah. Every text we are studying nowadays is same subject. And the whole life is this subject only. Or you want to be the upadiyukta samsari dukhi jiva, or you want to be nirupadika mukta atma. बड़ा क्वेश्चन है. Yesterday in one of the texts we discussed this. No, पहले वो तय करो. Then once you decide what you want to be, then you do what you have to do to achieve that. And it is not good or wise to decide to remain as a sopadika jiva. Because you see with upadhis how much of suffering every moment. Deha upadhi se suffering. Amaham mama with deha. Mana upadhi suffering. Indriya upadhi suffering. Any identity of mine in the society. To maintain that also is suffering. Everybody, HCM has to maintain his dignity, PM has to protect himself, me as a Swami, as a speaker, as an Acharya. ये सारा उपाधि है. फंसाते जाते हैं, दुखी कराते ही रहते हैं. No upadhi gives more happiness than the dukkha. Every upadhi takes us away from Paramatma and limits us to a limited conditional jiva bhav. ये बातें बार बार सोचना है. And what is the meaning of Nirupadika Atma Anubhuti? Is that the Upadhis are dead? No. This we have exhaustively studied, studying in our text nowadays. You discover the self, yet through the Upadhi we function, knowing that they are only Upadhi. Beyond that, I have no job with it. Like your car driver. Morning he comes at 9. You give him the chavi, then he takes you wherever you have to go. Evening he gives chavi after parking at the garage. Ho gaya. More than that, he is not worried. Even if he is worried, it is not a worry, it's a concern. Servicing करना है, वाह सर करा दो, petrol डलवाने भरो. There is no samsara to him. Petrol भराओ is eating the food. Servicing karana is when any problem comes, take the body to the garage or the servicing center, the hospital. But he is not attached. Mhm. In that way, a Jivan Mukta lives. We have to lift ourselves to that level. Just like a bhogi says, Pehla bhog, baad mein kaam. You and I should come to a level, Pahila discover Atma Anubhava, then let us see what Ishvara wants to achieve through us in this world. All these inspirations should come and will come to us when we do the Swadhyaya or the Japa of this particular mantra with the meaning no. That is why, though the mantra is small, its utility, its importance in our spiritual life is very essential. Especially at this level where we are still in dilemma as to increase our spiritual sadhana or get still continuously inclined only to the worldliness. And be always in a mood of happiness and inspiration that we are in spirituality. Spirituality में रहने का एक आनंद में हमेशा रहना, which is not possible to many people. Don't feel sad, bad, and in a form of कृपणा. ये पता नहीं मैं डेली क्लास जाता हूँ, सत्संग सुनता हूँ. अरे डेली क्लास आ रहे हो, सत्संग सुन रहे हो, भगवान को जान रहे हो. It should give more joy than any other thing. Is it not? Like I'm happy every day classes go on and on like that. Now we have seen aham samsara vrukshasya reriva prerayita. As many times as possible, in as many angles as possible, contemplate on this line and get out of it maximum benefit. And that self, which is only the prerayita, the witness and preraka of the entire thing. See the beauty, only two sentences. Without me, nothing of the entire universe can happen. See the glory of me. Half it is. The second half is what? Entire world, whatever is happening, infinite things, nothing of that can touch me. Is the second half glory. मेरे बिना कुछ नहीं होता है, वो इतना महान आत्मा मैं हूं, और जो कुछ भी हो रहा है वो मुझे कुछ भी स्पर्श नहीं करता. सी द ग्लोरी ऑफ इट. एंड व्हाट इज दैट? मेरे अलावा कुछ नहीं होता और जो भी होता है मुझे टच नहीं करता. इन इट्स टोटलिटी ओनली दीज थ्री: सृष्टि, स्थिति, लय. इन माई प्रेजेंस द एंटायर यूनिवर्स इज क्रिएटेड. In my presence, entire created universe is maintained. In my mere presence, the dissolution happens for the creation to go into the unmanifestation, again to come back into manifestation called as Srishti. And none of this Srishti Sthiti touch me. Or the other way is what? That pure Paramatma, in whose mere presence Srishti Sthiti Laya are happening, who is not touched by any one of them, is me, the real self. He has heard this from his gurus, the TRISHANKU. He spent some decades or maybe lives and he experienced that self. Then he is speaking. Yes, it is true. I am that Atma Tattva who is only the Reriva of this samsara vruksha, not a person of involvement. Prerayita, antaryami atmana. See the beauty. In the beginning, we run away from the world to gather the concentration, to listen the tattva from Guru, to contemplate, meditate, and realization. After knowing that, we don't run away from the world. The test for our realization is being in the world only. Like these students of medicine, they study in the hostel medicine away from everybody. After becoming doctor, they have to be among the patients and other people only to serve them. Therefore, what I am explaining you, the word antaryami atmana. I am, by being the antaryami atma, I am the reriva, prerayita of the entire samsara uchcheda atmakasya vrukshasya. Again and again repeat this. Now this goes in line with what we saw in the introduction. कि बार बार अपने मन बुद्धि को आत्म तत्व के विचार में ले आना. It's vague in the beginning. It appears to be non-substantial. Because the truth is little sublime, we are habituated to the gross world only as real. Is it not? To get through that breakthrough, it needs some time. It's happening to us. Already, the emotion, the mind, its thoughts, which are not as substantial objects of the world, have started becoming more real, important to us. पहले सिर्फ स्थूल जगत ही हमको सत्य था. हमें mana, the emotions of mana, intellect, its knowledge, understanding, according to the understanding knowledge, only we have to respond to the world. धीरे धीरे मन के स्तर पर सोचना, समझना, जीना हम सीख रहे कि नहीं? Have you come to the mind level or still at the worldly level? Think each one. So that shows that which was absolutely no information or vague, to live at the level of antakarana, now I am coming to live. So to beyond the antakarana, more sukshma than antakarana is atma tattva. उसका भी धीरे धीरे देखने से और प्रयत्न करने से उसका भी आदत बनेगा. always in the contemplation of seemingly non recognizable self. But that alone is reality. Non recognizable because it is an object to be recognized through the upadhi, it is a subject to be experienced by transcending the upadhi. So, again and again, don't say I am one bird in the samsara vriksha, in my own ghosla, fighting with other birds around. देखो जब वो पंछियों में भी लड़ाई होती है ना, दो कौवे दो कबूतर जब लड़ते, you see them, they went on killing each other. We are also like birds on the samsara vriksha. No, I am samsara vrikshasya reriva. See, there is a self which is by its mere presence allowing the world to happen, and that self is me. Or I am that self in whose presence all are happening. Yet none of them are touching me. There is a self which is untouched by all. That is reality. See, the gold is untouched. When the world of ornament with all its details is projected on it, called as creation of ornament, maintenance of ornament and using of it, and the ornament is melted. In all three occasions, the gold remained in its own pristine, pure form. In fact, that is the reality. Which is real? थोड़ा दिमाग लगा के सोचें, ornament or the gold? Gold. So, to which is real? The entire world of upadhis or the Paramatma on whom the world is projected. The difference in these two is what? As far as the gold is concerned, you can look at it with the eyes and we are very familiar with the gold matter, therefore easy to understand. We can see it also. When you go to goldsmith, he will show us the gold, he will melt it, he makes an ornament. ये सब हमको आंखों से दिखता है, इसलिए easy होता है एग्जाम्पल समझने में, एंड एग्जाम्पल easy भी है. But we have never seen the self, and it's not very sthula vastu like the gold, is very sublime self inside. Therefore, self is truth, on that the world is projected. These things doesn't click to us quickly. They're all the results of inquiry, result of contemplation, result of pondering again and again with the strength of faith on the Guru and Shastra. कि गुरु ने कहा, शास्त्र ने कहा, आत्मा वस्तु है, उसका लक्षण सच्चिदानंद है, उस सच्चिदानंद आत्मा के ऊपर ही the entire रूप नाम जगत is projected. This only on the strength of faith we go on contemplating. And that self is experienced nowhere other than in meditation, in the core of our heart, cave of our heart. सबको अल्टीमेटली हृदय के गुफा में जाना ही है, वहाँ जो ध्यान अवस्था में स्वरूप आत्म तत्व का अनुभव करना ही है. Then only the fulfillment of spiritual journey happens. Then only there is a meaning to all this study of Shastra. After that, there is nothing more to be reached. Not only that, there is no bondage coming back into the upadhi and suffering the limitations. ये सब नहीं रहेगा. Keep all these essential points in heart and become more gambhira towards them, serious towards them. अहम वृक्षस्य रेरिवा हो गया. सेकंड वन, कीर्ति पृष्ठम गिरेरिवा. मम कीर्ति गिरे पृष्ठमिवा उच्छ्रिता. This we spoke very exhaustively. Again, one more thought, same thing repeated is what? As a Atma Anubhavi, the Kirti is more greater than any other Kirti. Because the Atma Anubhava Kirti is self Kirti and it is permanent. Any other Kirti, others have to recognize and clap. Then only I will be happy. Even if others don't need to do, and I say, ki, I reach Swamiji, therefore I'm happy, but it is not permanent. Like I became a police officer. Nobody is clapping, but I'm happy. I reached it. So it's a kirti for me. Ki main become. But the point is that you can't be permanently officer. X lagi jayega after some years. Is it not? Ex commissioner of police. No. What's so what? X लग गए तो क्या? When the newly appointed commissioner है, आप भी हो, लोग किसको वैल्यू करते हैं? And you see in your heart also. See that president when he became ex 1 month back or 20 days back. You could see his face, पूरा उतर गया उनका president का सारा. Kirti gone. Where is he? We don't know the earlier presidents than him. दो चार अभी हैं शरीर में जो भी है. Where are they? कीर्ति गया ना. गयाना में गया ना कीर्ति और गया में गया कीर्ति का साथ. Only the Atma Kirti is the topmost, that nobody can reach it to pull it down. Is it not? If anybody reaches, he also stays there, sustained in his Kirti, without troubling my Kirti. Like one president removed the Kirti of other president. Two people cannot be president same time. But one Atma Jnani's Kirti is not disturbed when other also become Atma Jnani. That is the meaning of Uchrita Kirti. Along with that, why it is Uchrita? Why do you call it as the Kirti? Girehe Prashtamima. Prashtam means top. Why, what is the meaning of the topness when the Trishanku used that word? Topest means one is what? Comparatively highest. Second is you don't come back from it and it never goes back, goes away. In this way, Kirti Prashtam Girehe Eva. And what is the Mera Kirti Prashtam hai? As a self, don't forget. As a Reriva of the Vruksha, my Kirti is Girehe Prashtam Iva. And who is the Vruksha? Samsara. And who is the Reriva? I. Who are you? Brahma Rupa, Atma Rupa. I, the self, am the support of the world, not influenced by it. That Kirti of mine is greater than anything. The Kirti means achievement. So the achievement of Atmanubhava is like reaching a peak beyond which there is nothing to reach. And what is Atmanubhava? Vrukshasya ham reriva prerayita antaryami atmana. And what is the final thought in this context? I already discussed 10 minutes back. I am everywhere but not touched by anything. I am everywhere because gold has to be everywhere but not touched by any ornamentation. That is the meaning of अंतर्यामी आत्मना. सब जगह रहने वाला आत्म वस्तु मैं हूँ. Therefore, as an Atma, I am everywhere, yet touched not by anything. Yeah, the ocean and water are there in every wave, not touched by any wave. These are the ones little sublime thoughts. Without understanding them, Upanishadic truth cannot be understood. And any understanding lesser than this is not spiritual understanding. It's only, it won't sort out the problems. Finally, it remains, problem remains. I am the self of everything in universe. On me, with my own permission of Maya, the world is projected on me without touching me. This is the thing. आज समझो या 1000 साल बाद इसी को मेनली समझने से डाउट्स चले जाते हैं. Then you work it out on the seat of meditation, discovering that self. That is called yatra yatra mano yati tatra tatra samadayah or tasmin drushte paravare. Now the third one also is a urdhva pavitro. I am urdhva means karanam, pavitra means the jnana gamyam. So jnana gamyam is brahma tattva. Jnana gamyam means experiential. Here the jnanam is not with the triputi of jnata jnanam jnayam, but it is the pure conscious experience that it is me. Jnana gamyam is experience. Jnana gamyam iti kshetram tata jnanam jnayam chotram samakshadha. In Gita also this word comes. This is jnana gamyam and it is the cause of everything. Causeless cause of everything. That is urdhva. Urdhva means cause. Jnana gamyam means known experientially. And what is the cause of everything? Brahman only. What is finally experienced is Brahman only. Therefore, he experienced Brahma Tattva, then he finds himself to be Urdhva and Pavitra. Asmi. That way of saying. Urdhvaha Pavitraha Asmi. Then the Urdhva Pavitra, after understanding the words from Bhashyakara's Bhashya, directly also we can understand when it helps us. The Urdhva means be upper, top, and whatever is Urdhva is not touched by Adho. And these three go together. The first line is Reriva, second is Prushtam Girehe, third one is Urdhva. Reriva is only prereta without touched by. Girehe Prustamima is on the peak of the mountain. Therefore, Urdhva means I am at such a highest pedestal that the lower things don't touch me. There is nothing Urdhva to influence me. I am at the Urdhva most, and not the lower things can come and touch me. I am Urdhva. Urdhva is, in English, it is easy to understand, beyond. We have risen above. Like if we are told to go and study the 7th class, 10th class, we say, मैं ऊर्ध्व हो गया हूँ, वो कभी का पढ़ चुका हूँ मैं, I can't do that now, it's over. ऊर्ध्व मतलब rising above, beyond the lower ones, not to get influenced. Like when you get promoted, you have become ऊर्ध्व. No more you are the lower level. है ना, the section officer बन गए, तो you are no more a clerk or UDC or assistant. Section officer is ऊर्ध्व हो गए ना. So the other three are lesser in him. But he has got the other upper people. Therefore, his urdhvata is relative only. But the spiritual urdhvata is so ultimate, there is nothing beyond it. बाकी सब उसके नीचे ही है. So he is expressing his experience of being beyond everything with the word urdhva. मैं सबसे ऊर्ध्व हूँ, ऊंचा हूँ मैं. पर्वत हो सबसे ऊंचा, Hamsaya Asumaka, word song, Urdhva, that one. Pavitra also, we can understand the word purifier. Because in it, whenever there is two, one impurifies the other. And only in the Atma Anubhava, the two-ness goes away. Why? Because Atma is one without second. And therefore, one without Atma is experienced. There is nothing other than it to impurify it. And that experience of not impurified, unsullied, it is called in English. Not touched by any impurity, immaculateness. कहते ना? He is expressing the word pavitra. Bhashyakara said, pavitram is jnanam. Because jnanam alone is the one which protects us from the mrityu. Why mrityu? Pavehe bhayat trayate. So to the urdhvam word, he used as karanam. So, Karana Rupa, he brought out the meaning of the Urdhva word as Brahma. Then the Jnana Rupa Brahma, Avagamana Jnana Rupa Brahma ke meaning ko Pavitra Shabd se Bhashyakar ne diya. So, Urdhva means cause of everything is Brahma. Pavitra is Parabrahma only because it is the one which frees us from the Mrityu. We are taking it in the same thing in this way also. It is beyond everything. Here you can call the urdhva is beyond even काल. एक बार ऊर्ध्व हो गए हम काल के ना टाइम का, then you are not samsari because everything in samsara happen only in the influence of kala. That is when you transcend the kala in nidra. There is no samsara of the jagat and swapna. Therefore, you might have got half-rated, terrible pain is there, everything हो, but निद्रा में अगर गए मानो किसी कारण से, you are not in kala, therefore there is no samsara. But that is all temporary. That is only anesthesia or sedation. अनुभव तो है, but not ज्ञान प्राप्त है, इसलिए वापस आना पड़ता है. But when we discover the Atma Anubhava, we are beyond the time. Samsara कोई touch नहीं करता. So going beyond time is urdhva. Going beyond place is urdhva. Going beyond objectiveness is urdhva. Going beyond the modifiable, binding, limited panchakoshas is urdhva. I'm just trying to make us feel कि we'll rise above everything, that nothing binds us. Like you take off in flight, you are urdhva from all the pollution of the ground and all. What a joy it is. But you have to learn. But this is Urdu. ठीक है? Pavitra is purifier. Because impurity is because of two. In the Atma Jnana, it being one without second, there is no other thing to impurify it. That's the joy. And when you come to Vedanta, the meaning of pavitra, apavitra has to be understood subtly, not grass. Grass, apavitrata is what? You are walking and some dirty thing you put your feet. Or kapde ko kuch lag gaya, apavitra. Spirituality में the apavitra means every emotion of the mind is apavitra. And the pair of two emotions which are the cause of all other is raga and dvesha. So raga dvesha are the apavitras in us. From where all other negative emotions come, of kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mad, matsarya, then the purity of life, happiness of life goes away. That is why pavitrata means what? We are transcending all this. Why we are transcending? Because to have raga dvesha, you have to have somebody other than you. But in the Atma Anubhava, you alone are there. You can't have raga or dvesha. Therefore, pavitra. And see the joy of that heart where everything is me, everyone is me, no one is other than me. Therefore, zero of the raga, zero of the dvesha. Prema is there. Because prema is the fulfillment of life. Love and ananda are the lakshana of the Atma. That is why the prema and ananda go together. Whatever gives you ananda, you do the prema to that. And whatever you have prema, it gives you ananda. No, Swami, I love somebody, but it is giving me dukkha. Then it is not prema, it is attachment. You have to change your definition. The ananda of that pavitrata of the raga dvesha rahitya shuddha prema. Because sarvam aham asmi. That's the meaning of pavitra. Means what? These Trishanku's words are not ordinary. When you analyze them, the Atma Anubhuti's glory is more vividly kept in front of us. Then you are asked, do you want to reach to that? Then study the second Valli exhaustively. Go beyond the one by one Pancha Koshas and ha hu, ahamannam, reach to that sthiti. Okay? Now next one is Vajini iva su amrutam asmi. So aham samsara vrukshasya reriva asmi mama kirtihi atma anubhava prapta mama kirtihi girehe prushtam iva. I'm just saying deliberately in Sanskrit so that you, while listening in Sanskrit, able to understand in your language. Then aham urdhva asmi, aham pavitra asmi. Urdhva is karanam, urdhva is beyond. Pavitra asmi, I am jnana swarupa. Pavitra means there is no sense of otherness to allow my mind to manifest along with the raga dvesha to give the apavitra anubhava of the dukkha, klesha, glani. मैं हूं वो. Then next one is Vajini iva su amrutam asmi. Vajini iva samrutam asmi. What is that? Vajam annam. Vajam annam. It will come in Vishnu Sahasranam also today somewhere. So Vajam annam. Let us see that one today. Ki see, Vajini iva means Vajavati. We told you Dhanavati, Gunavati, Vajavati. I am Vajavati. Means Vajam Annam. Vajam is food. Food means immortality. Because when you eat food, then only we are alive. Nahi khaya to mar jata. And where from the Annam coming is from Surya. Therefore, Vajam Annam Tadvati Savitari Ityartaha. Okay, there are two things. Interesting. Listen. We are alive because we eat the food. Therefore, food is called as Amrutam. And this Amrutam food, which is sustaining us, is coming from Bhagavan Surya. Through his Kiranas only everything happens. These are all gross subtle का खेल है. पूरा दुनिया क्या है? The subtlemost appearing as gross dissolving in the subtle. ये खेल को अगर बुद्धि से हम समझ जाते हैं ना, then the life's entertainment is different. You are no more a samsara. You understand? The hydrogen oxygen becomes water vapor, that only becomes water, that only becomes ice. Ice only becomes water, it gets vaporized, then you can fusion it, then through the fission, you can make it hydrogen and oxygen. You know? Same way. The grossest world in which we are lost, taking this alone as real, is nothing but a part of the total subtle self. And it will anyway go into the self. In that only there is fulfillment to it. हुँ। जब सिनेमा हो गया तो थिएटर में थोड़ी बैठे रहते हो। खाना खा लिया तो होटल में थोड़ी बैठे रहते हो। शादी हो गया फिर भी मंडप में बैठते हो क्या? डेस्टिनेशन पहुँच गए फिर भी ट्रेन में बैठोगे? No. So too, staying in the upadhi is a part of journey. Destination is nirupadika atma only. It's a big subject. We'll discuss that also. A topic will come. So one meaning is what? For our life, the amritam is annam, annam giver is savita. Okay. The second meaning is what? The annam giver savita, through which annam we all are becoming amrita. Amritam is trupti. Amritam is life. When we eat food, we are contented. When we eat food, we are energized. When we eat food, because of energy, we are alive. Therefore, the annam is called amrita, coming from Surya. No, सूर्य भगवान से अन्न रूप में अमृत हमको आ रहा है तो सूर्य भगवान खुद भी अमृत होना चाहिए. So, no, this is a very technical, grammatical, subtle explanation. Not as easy as any other thing. How it is, Vajinivati is the word we are understanding. Vajiniva su amrutam asmi. Both together. So, Vajam is Annam. Like that is a house. The owner of the house. Car, owner of the house. So, Vajam Annam. Vajini means the owner of the Annam. Who is the owner of the Annam? Surya. And what is the Annam giving all of is Amrita. Coming from Surya. Surya also is Amrita Swarupa. Like him, I have discovered myself to be Amrita. At the Pralaya Kala, even Surya may dissolve, but I am eternally there. सो सबको अन्न प्रदान करके अमृतत्व को देने वाले अपने पास ही अमृतत्व को रखने वाले सूर्य के समान मैं भी सु अमृतम अस्मि. So the Surya is immortal and the world is immortal because of him. In the same way, I am the immortal self in the entire mortal world, appearing even to be alive only because of me. That's the meaning of Vajini Iva Su Amritam Asmi. So Vajini Iva means Vajavati Iva. Vajam means Annam. Therefore, Annavati Tadvati Savitari Ityartaha. Yatha Savitari Amritam Atmatattvam Vishuddham Prasiddham Shruti Smruti Shatevyaha. Just like hundreds of Shrutis have spoken about the Surya having in him the Amrutattva. And what is Amrutattva? Only one Atmatattva. In all the examples, in all the Upanishadic declarations, and wherever the Atma Tattva Varnana comes, the Akasha and Surya Bhagavan examples come very, very frequently. Like in Kathopanishad, Agni was told, Vayu was told, then Surya was told. Remember? Agniryathayiko bhuvanam pravishtaha rupam rupam vratirupo babhuva ekastata sarva bhutantaratma rupam rupam vratirupo vaishya. Then vayuryathayiko. Then comes suryo yatha sarva lokasya chakshuhu na lipyate chakshushair bhakyalos doshaihi evam tata sarva bhutantaratma na lipyate loka dukhyena bhakyah. Like Surya is eliminator of everything, but any dukkha of anybody in the earth it doesn't touch Surya. In the same way, the self is that which illumines all upadhis, which sustains all upadhis. Yet, whatever the birth, modification, old age, change, death that are happening to the upadhi doesn't touch me, the self. Like everything happening in the world will not touch the Surya. So, Surya ka example. So, Yosavadityo Purusha Sohamasmi. Again in Taittiriya, Ishavasya Upanishad. That Purusha Atma who is there in the Surya, that is me. I know I am that. So I'm not asking you like a beggar to remove the curtain. Like a beggar asking the food in front of the house and the child asking the food. There's a difference. दोनों खाना ही पूछते हैं. But he is a fellow beggar, unrelated. But child is a child of the mother. He has a right. Therefore, this Shishya says in this Ishavasya, मैं वही पुरुष हूँ जो तुम्हारे अंदर है. Theoretically, I know. Therefore, I not beg you. I only am telling you, remove the curtain so that I can have the darshan of the you, the self. Vyuha Rashmin Samuha Tejo Ete Rupam Kalyanadamam Tatte Pashyami. Bhai, Yosa Vasa Purusha Soham Asmi. The Purusha who is there in you is me also. Everywhere we see the example. Otherwise, Shruti Smruti Shatebhyaha. So in the hundreds of Shruti and Smruti, Bhagavan Surya, being the Amrita Tattva, and Amrita Tattva is none other than Atma, is said so many times. Therefore, when we say Vajanivati, so Amritamasmi, we interpret it as the Surya Bhagavan, who is famously said to be in the Amritattva of the Atma Anubhava. So, Yata Savitari, just like in the Surya Bhagavan, Amritam means Atma Tattvam, Vishuddham, which is pure self, Prasiddham. In the pure Surya, in the Surya Bhagavan, the Atma Jnana is Prasiddha. Who said it? Shruti Smruti Shatebhyaha. Hundreds of Shruti and Smruti has said, Evam. In the same way, Su Amrutam, Shobhanam, Vishuddham, Atma Tattvam, Asmi Bhavami. So, whatever the Shrutis have said about the Surya having Atma Tattva, that Atma Tattva I have got. Vajini means Surya. So Amritamasmi means Surya is Amrita Swarupa. How? So many Shrutis said. That experience of Atma Amritam, like Surya got, I also have got. So Surya is spoken in so many Shastras. I may not be spoken about, I may be spoken about only in a Taittiriya Upanishad, but I am telling you, I am that Amrita Anubhava, this Vyakti, like the Surya Bhagavan. Vajini iva su Amritam asmi. Vajini means Surya. सूर्य के समान मैं भी सुअमृत हूँ. Suamrita is Atma Amrita. But Suamrita is required to say there is another Amrita in Swarga, and in the world also everything is pleasure. At that time appears to be Amrit. Very good food. अरे वाह अमृत के समान everything. अच्छा है ना अमृतम. But these are all the Vishya Amrita, and then Nidra Amrita, and then that Swarga Amrita. But this is Su Amrita. This is Atma Amrita. Independent, never perishing, etc. So what is the meaning? Swamiji, Vajini, Vasmurta Amrita means Surya Bhagavan is famous for being in the Amrita Tattva. What is his Amrita Tattva? Atma Anubhava. And he is Vajini. He is the giver of food to all. So सबको अन्न अमृत देने वाले अमृत स्वरूप सूर्य, जिस आत्मा अमृत के स्मरण अमृत के रूप में डिस्क्राइब किए जाते हैं इन ऑल शास्त्र, दैट अमृतानुभव आई आल्सो गॉट. अमृतानुभव. See, Jnaneshwar ji, Maharashtra, he wrote the commentary on Gita and titled it as the Amrutanubhavam. Why Gita? Advaita Amrita Varshini, Jnanamritamay asme. So he mentioned like that. So Vajani iva so Amritam asmi. Is it not? And what is the trick in that? It is Surya Bhagavan who is said to be in Atma Amrita in hundreds of Shastras. So when I take that example to explain about my Atma Anubhava, people will be inspired. Hmm. Like, Tenzing Narge and then Edmund Hillary and that Sherpa, more important was Sherpa. Like they reached the Everest peak, I also reached. After that, both Sare, the Bachendri Pals and all, I don't know whether she climbed the Everest also. So like that, I also climbed. When I say it is authentic, मैं गया हूँ, कहाँ गए, वहाँ वहाँ जहाँ गए वो वहाँ गया मैं. If you say like that, is incomplete. When I say like Neil Armstrong, I went to the moon. So taking the example of the person who's already reached, like the great people of the nation, I also got Bharat Ratna. I can it is not that my Bharat Ratna is something special from them or theirs is special. It is only to make the people know that I am also in the experience in line with them of joy of receiving that Bharat Ratna. In the same way, like Bhagavan Surya is in Amrita Anubhava, about which all Upanishads, all the Shruti Smriti, hundreds of places said, I am telling you to you believe, for you to believe that like Surya, I also in Amrita Anubhava. That is what he says. Vajini was Amritamas. Surya is famous. So famous Surya's example is taken. That's it. To say that he is also in same Atma Anubhava like Bhagavan Surya. Vajini vasu amritamasmi. Wonderful. In this way, this is done. The next one, Dravinagam savarchasam sumeda amrutokshitaha iti Trishankoho Veda Anuvachanam. So these are the things tomorrow we will see. Itna kafi hai. Today's introduction we thought was good and relevant. So we have spent some 17 minutes for it along with our chanting and then slowly the भाष्य का अनुग्रह भी पाना है फिर हमारे दिमाग में भी बैठना है. What is the final take home point? Atma Anubhava is Amrita Swarupa, like Surya experienced. It is the Urdhvam, the topmost, it's a Pavitra, most feeling of blessedness. And in that experience, you are the support of everything, the Reriva, without getting without being affected by anything. Imagine that experience. I am the support of this Deha for its birth, maintenance, and death. Yet, the Deha's any age or gender or roga is not touching me. I am liberated from the body. And that self I am. And that he experienced. And the glory of that experience is putting in these words. It's not a very sad, emotional scene. Vrikshasya reriva, kiti pushta. No. Aham vrikshasya reriva. Mama kirti gire prashtamiva. Aham urdhva asmi. Aham pavitra asmi. And vajaniva suamrutam asmi. People when they are rich, because of richness, they buy so many things. Then they are in a different joy of claiming all those things. है ना? स्वामी जी 6-7 गाड़ियां हैं कार मेरे. अच्छा फिर कैसे आते हैं आप साइकिल पे? इतने गाड़ी रख. I have my company factory spread out in so many places. I have my own 6 choppers. सब्जी काटते हो? Not this chopper स्वामी जी, ऊपर हवा में उड़ने वाला. Don't you say? The claiming of that is so joyful, no? मजा आता है सुनकर उनको. Here the Trishanku is saying, यार मेरा achievement इतना महान है. I'm extremely happy. He be in his ecstasy was talking. Suddenly somebody were there with the cell phone or any recorder, they recorded it. Then in the context, to fill up the gap between the upasanas and the next coming Brahmagnana, his quotations are given. Like any of the presentations, even in present world, modern world में, that each speaker gives a lecture. Then he says, now the authority for what I have spoken is you can see the speech of that person. 2 मिनट उनका वीडियो दिखाते. पता है कि नहीं? Or nowadays they display any of the PowerPoints. Here also, Trishanku's recording is put to say that Brahmanubhava, Atmanubhava is highest than anything. That inspiration we have to get and try for it. While trying for it, not only we are getting a Brahmananda, at the same time, more important than that is, we are freeing ourselves from otherwise inevitable samsara dukkha. There is no other way. एक दुख जाएगा लेकिन दूसरा आएगा. सब दुख जाना है तो वह जोन जहां जाने से दुख है ही नहीं, वहां जाना पड़ेगा. Going into that ultimate level where there are no problems. He reached it. Trishanku's explanation is to say that there is such place and anybody who tries, he can reach. In this way, the Bhashyakara will conclude this shloka's Bhashya, which we will see tomorrow. Clear? Pado is mantra ko as many times as possible. Yesterday I could not chant much times for various reasons. टुडे थोड़ा मिलेगा तो करेंगे. तो क्लास में तो मिलकर डेली सुबह शुरू में 3 बार और एक 3 बार आप कर रहे हैं. Tomorrow when we conclude 11 times we do. Now just chant thrice. Om aham rukshasya reriva kirti prushtang gireriva ordvapavitro vajiniva samrtamasmi dravinagam savarchasam sumeda amrutokshitah iti trishankor vedanuvajanam aham rukshasya reriva kirti prushtang gireriva ordvapavitro vajiniva samrtamasmi dravinagam savarchasam सुमेधा अमृतोक्षितः इति त्रिशङ्कोर्वेदानुवचनम् अहं वृक्षस्यरेरिव कीर्तिपृष्ठं गिरेरिव ऊर्ध्वपवित्रो वाजनीव समृतमस्मि द्रविणकं सवर्चसं सुमेधामृतोक्षितः इति त्रिशङ्कोर्वेदानुवचनम्. So the concluding thought is, let us not die a painful death of misery, feeling that this day I am living, these people I am living, etc. Now, let us choose the living of the body rather than dying, before which we enjoy experiencing our identity with the self, like Trishanku. शरीर की तरह जीते जीते, शरीर की तरह मरते मरते, मरने के गम दुख को, है ना, सफर करने के बजाय our life much before the death comes to this body, Upadhi, our life should be full of this sadhana and experience like Trishanku. Aham Rukshasya. Ye goal hai. No other thing is goal. No japa, no tapa, no upasana, no going to temple, no dana, no dharma. वो सब बच्चों का खेल हो चुका है. Now for us we have to do something, and what only thing we have to do is discover aham, which is vrukshasya reriva, not the aham which is a bird on the vruksha. And very sublime it is. Every moment from now onwards, any jiva bhava, because identity with the upadhi, rises in us. उसका कोई व्यावहारिक जरूरत है तो fulfill that, beyond that, cut that with this sword of this knowledge that I am the self who support this, which is eternal. I am not this upadhi yukta jiva. That's called asanga shastrena dudhena chitva. Vitili upasanaya. The very next sloka in our Bhagavata Purana in the evening class today is this only. He has explained about the jiva, देहेन्द्रिय प्राण मनोभिमान गुणकर्म मूर्ति. We spoke about the jiva yesterday, and he alone in the totality is called as the Sutra Mahaniti Urdeva Giyate. Then the next sloka will be Shitena Upasanaya Shitena Jnana Asina Chitva. Same in Gita also, Asanga Shastrena Chitva. Again, first it was said in fourth class, fourth chapter, last sloka. Jnanasina chitva enam samshayam yogamatishta uttishta bharat. By cutting this wrong attachment with the sword of intellectual knowledge, yogamatishta, for the experience, sit on the seat of yogam called meditation. In the meditation, you discover yourself like Trishanku. Same is said in 15th chapter. So, we are carrying to home this thought that our tadatmya with the Atma Tattva should increase more and more. अकॉर्डिंगली और तादात्म्य विद द उपाधि एंड उपाधि के साथ जो जीव है वो धीरे धीरे घटना है, अंदर की बात, बाहर किसी को नहीं बताना, इनसाइड. Like inside, throughout the day, now I have to think. I am only a speaker for that 1 hour, and that speaker upadhi is only to do the seva. But beyond that, aham rukshasya reriva. Again and again. This is the only job do till aham jivosmi dehosmi vasanas are replaced by aham brahmasmi. That is why evam nirantara abhyasta brahmasmi iti vasana. That alone harate avidya vikshepan rogani rasayanam. Only this aham vrukshasya reriva is the medicine which removes the bhava roga. What a powerful way that comes in the Vivek Chudamani as well as Atmabodha Granth. Evam nirantara abhyasta brahma asmi iti vasana harati avidya vikshepan rogani varasaya. Like continuous medicine removes the roga, continuous aham brahmasmi removes the bhava roga. From now onward, that is our mission. है ना. आज तारीख 11 और 9 मंथ, बाकी सारे 9, 2, 11 होना चाहिए हमारे जीवन में, ये आना चाहिए. If this is done, we are fulfilling our life, we are fulfilling our adhyanam of the Shastras. More important then inquiry comes. After feeling for some days, I am the Brahma or Atma, how to recognize this self, then the Panchakosha Viveka in the next Valli is going to guide us. Okay. Om 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 Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः. परमऋषिभ्यो नमः. परब्रह्मणे नमः. श्रुतिमात्रे नमः. ओम तत्सत् ब्रह्मार्पणमस्तु. ओम श्री वेदव्यास वैशंपायन याज्ञवल्क्य आदिशंकर गुरुभ्यो नमः. Today's talk is more useful compared to other talks. If you like it, listen again, or at least remember what is said. Write the crucial points. I will also do this homework. Let's study Vidurniti 10 minutes now.